Good evening, South Australia, and wherever else you might be tuning in from. Just a real quick update this evening on just some news and some information that I wanted to share that I've come across. And it's mainly about the election. I'm going to be talking a little bit more moving forward on topics more related to our state, South Australia, but also seeing that we're going to have an election coming up this year. Going to be trying to talk a little bit more into that, try and talk to some candidates and so forth. But let's get some stories of today underway. So I'm just going to share my screen and show you this event. So One Nation is having a little bit of an event here in South Australia, up at Murray Bridge. So I'm going to just read that out for you there. Just pull myself off to the side here a bit, maybe. Or yep, no, it might be better that way. Anyway, so Carlos Coimbra, who's currently South Australia's One Nation president, taking over from Jennifer Game, along with the Murray Bridge Friends of Freedom, are holding a Meet the Candidates at 2 p.m. on Sunday, the 19th of January. So 2 p.m. Sunday, the 19th of January at the Girl Guides Hall, 16 Standen Street, Murray Bridge. So the candidates for One Nation here in for this particular electorates currently. So we've got Rebecca Hewitt, who's going to be the candidate for the seat of Mayo, my seat. You have Cody Scholes, who's going to be the candidate for One Nation for Barker. And the Senate candidate here for South Australia is Jennifer Game, who's been part of One Nation for quite some time. She's been a real asset to the One Nation team, and was the president or director of One Nation here in South Australia under Pauline Hanson, but is now giving way to that for Carlos. And he's got the reins, and looking to catch up with Carlos at some stage into the near future before the elections as well, to have a bit of a yarn with him about One Nation and South Australia. But essentially, there you have the candidates, some candidates, some federal candidates, and a Senate candidate here for South Australia. So just wanted to give you a quick update, a bit of a brief then. Obviously, I'll just cut through here. So Rebecca's currently councillor for Mount Barker Council, and Cody is Cody's a I'm going to read this out, former paramedic, current business owner, dog dad to two, candidate for Barker, endorsed by Pauline Hanson, One Nation. So that's Cody there, and I'm pretty sure we'll hear more about them for a while, after a while. Then obviously Jennifer Game there. We're also you can reach out to her there as well. She's obviously been around for quite some time, but authorised by Jennifer Game, candidate for One Nation in South Australia, mother and grandmother. No longer director of One Nation SA, because I believe that reign is going over to Carlos. So, and as we know, in regards to Rebecca there, Rebecca Hewitt for Mayo, which is obviously, as I said, my electorate. Here in South Australia, she's going to be going up against. So we currently now know three of the candidates in the Mayo electorate, and as we go further towards the elections, I'll obviously be looking to provide an update on others, maybe hopefully conduct some interviews, get some people on, talk about the policies and so forth as well. So, but if we have a look, Rebecca Sharkey, who is obviously the current sitting member for Mayo, and we believe that obviously she's recontesting that seat this seat for the next federal election. I believe she's going to be looking at one more term, so she's had that now for 8 years as well. And I did a bit of a story, obviously, as well on Zane Basic. So this was covered by In Daily, but Zane Basic is the Liberal candidate for Mayo going into the next federal election as well, and did a little bit of a run on Zane on my Mayo Mawson Substack, which I'm not using a hell of a lot. I'm sort of more on the Mark Substack, Mark Noligabauer Substack, but did a bit of a brief overview of Zane and the pre-selection sort of race that was with Henry Davis, I believe, as well, but Zane ended up getting it. So, look, the three candidates for Mayo, for at least the Mayo electorate, is Zane Basic, and then obviously Rebecca Sharkey, and Rebecca Hewitt there. So, but obviously for your Mount Barker area is Cody Scholes, and obviously the Senate candidate will be Jennifer Games. So for those that are interested to find out more, obviously this is an opportunity to meet these candidates, hear about the policies and ask them questions. The event will be open to the general public to attend, so please spread the word. Tea and coffee will be provided. So and just as a disclaimer, I am not a member of One Nation, but obviously I do want to share things that are going on in our state, and obviously Carlos has put this together and sharing that information there with you with you all now. So that's the news on that. Now the other news we have is, well, as you know, I did a bit of a interview last night with John and Edna Tate. And we talked about the Adelaide Hills Council Australia Day and what's happening. So that was with John and Edna, and we did talk about these events that are being held in the Adelaide Hills, Gamaraka, Woodside, Stirling, and Uradla. But just fresh off the press and news, and I'll share. This is an article from the Epoch Times. So look, I think they've done some really great work over the years, Epoch Times. So anybody encourage a subscription if people feel so inclined. But let's talk about something that's happened here in South Australia just recently. So South Australian Council. So we talked with John and Edna last night, and said it was really great about the Unley Council, and obviously we talked about what was happening at Mount Barker, but South Australian Council shifts Australia Day to different dates. So the local SA government appears to have made us use of a new federal rules allowing citizenship ceremonies to be held 3 days from Australia Day. So the city of Mitcham is the latest. So have made that choice to not have the citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day. So the city of Mitcham, I'm going to read a little bit of this Epoch Times. The City of Mitcham Council in South Australia has invited the community to celebrate Australia Day and welcome its new citizens on January 23, 3 days ahead of the actual date of celebrations. While most traditional Australia Day events tend to be held during the day, the council celebrations will be held by night. Running from 5 to 8 p.m, the event includes a long list of free activities, including food stalls, a free sausage sizzle, children's events, and live music. As I said, I had a lengthy discussion with John and Edna last night about their feelings on all this, and perhaps I'll be able to talk to a representative that is pushing back on Mitcham Council as well. But the region's citizenship ceremony will also be held on the same date. The change could be explained by a law change made in 2022, which I discussed, when the federal Labor federal government announced councils could choose to hold citizenship ceremonies 3 days either side of January 26. Previously, local governments were expected to hold the events on Australia Day, the 26th of January. City of Mitcham Manager of Engagement and Governance Julie Lamond told the Epoch Times that Councillor Joanna Wells had put forth a motion in July 2024 to move away from holding of citizenship ceremonies on January 26. So Councillor Joanna Wells put forward a motion in July 2024. The reason put forth in the motion were to host citizenship ceremonies on the closest Thursday to Australia Day in order to avoid extra costs associated and avoid scheduling the event on a day which may cause distress to First Nations people. Should Australia Day occur on a Thursday, the event should be held on the evening of Wednesday, January 25 in that year. Council documents state. The Council said holding Australia Day festivities on January 25 in 2024 lowered the cost of events from an average of $32,000 to $15,000 due to moving away from the public holiday. Citizenship ceremonies will remain within 3 days of Australia Day in order to comply with the federal code. The Council says it has received a small amount of mixed feedback from the community, with some for and others against. It maintains flexibility on the holding of Australia Day celebrations, with last year's motion applying only to citizenship ceremonies. Now, it's good to kind of point out, maybe people can do the research and I can get some more information about it, because I've been actively involved with John and Ed, and obviously with Mount Barker, and obviously a bit more information about that. It'd be interesting to see how wide out in the community that Mitcham Council went in regards to feedback on that. On Australia Day. So the Australia Day debate is, according to the Epoch Times here, Australia Day is a public holiday held annually on the 26th to commemorate the arrival of the First Fleet from Great Britain in 1788, which marked the beginning of European colonisation of the continent. Now, there is some contention about the actual meaning and the dates and so forth. Some people contend that it was Federation and all sorts of things. So I'm not going to dig too far into that. That can be for another day. While some argue that the day is an important national celebration of Australia's values, there have been calls from some corners, particularly amid the global cancel culture push, to change the date as it could be deemed offensive to Indigenous people. Protest groups argue that the date marks the beginning of the dispossession of Indigenous people and may sometimes call it Invasion Day instead. Now, I talked with John and Edna at length about many topics there last night, so if you haven't watched it, you can watch that on my Substack. The date of Australia Day has become a topic almost as hot as the summer sun in recent years, as a growing divide forms between those who believe in keeping the traditional date and those who say it marks the beginning of atrocities committed against Aboriginal people. Late last year, a hotel chain backflipped on a decision. I talked about that with John and Edna last night, as well as Coles and Woolworths, and we showed that video with back in the day in the 60s with Ampol supporting Australia Day. Backflipped on a decision to cancel January 26 celebrations at its hundreds of venues across the nation. Australian Venue Co. initially made the call due to the sadness and hurt it said the day caused to Indigenous Australians. However, following widespread backlash, the group said Australians could celebrate as they pleased. Well, thank you very much for that. Academic and Indigenous commentator Anthony Dillon, hats off to you, Anthony, love your commentary on a lot of this stuff, told the Epoch Times that Australia Day was not an offensive event. We don't have to tolerate nonsense, he said, adding that Australia Day is and should always be about celebrating what's great about the nation. So pretty much reiterating the words of John and Edna Tate last night as well. It's not disrespecting Aboriginal people in any way, Dillon said. If you're not Indigenous Australian, don't let anyone tell you it's offensive. That's their opinion, not fact. So thank you, Anthony, for reiterating that. And we know that, Anthony Mundine and Jacinta Price and other strong Aboriginal advocates out there, and they absolutely detest the division that's caused in the community. And I love their reasoned voice in all this as well. So that's that. I wanted to kind of get that, share that news about Mitcham Council, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a bit more commentary on that as the days come. And I've been asked to share. We've seen we're talking about Australia Day. This is not related to South Australia. This is Australia Day rally, Sunday 26th of January 2025 at Port Melbourne, Banda Rotunda in St Kilda. So I've been asked to share that and that for you. So that's what I'm sharing there for you now. And as I move along, I will just share this now. Live for Life, and that is an event coming up as well. And just wanted to let you know that's the Walk for Life. So I'm just going to take a real quick break. Won't be a second here. Alrighty, and apologies for that. Just some little bit of background noise I just had to sort out there. Just wanted to cover the Love Them Both Walk for Life event. That's been held by Love Adelaide Walk for Life. That's happening in on the 8th of February 2025 at 10 a.m. Till 12 p.m. Pennington Gardens opposite St Peter's Cathedral. So that's coming up here in South Australia as well, and wanted to get that covered there for you as well. The other thing I also wanted to cover is the National Electoral Representatives Alignment, NERA. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for a little while, and to let people know about that as well. So what is NERA? NERA is an initiative of the Aligned Council of Australia, and I know I've been plugging the Aligned Council of Australia for a while and doing some great work. So NERA is an initiative of the Aligned Council of Australia where every member of our community can voice their genuine concerns for this nation directly to our members of Parliament via representatives. This initiative brings together our community leaders and supporters to empower them at the local electoral level to affect change. Join the team and be part of the solution. NERA has 3 distinct roles that work in harmony at the electoral level. These parts, when combined, create a powerful platform for our community to voice their concerns. So electoral representatives, community representatives, and community supporter. So I encourage you, alignedcouncilofaustralia.com.au NERA, you can check out more. So the electoral representative serves as a community advisor to the MP or Senator in the Office of Federal and State Electoral Regions to ensure Australian parliamentarians know the issues and the remedy for correction. This position requires the long-term growth of a professional relationship with the electoral MP and their staff. The community representative gathers the troops to assist the electoral representative by connecting local groups and individuals. The community rep helps to bring awareness and change by implementing national campaigns in their communities. And a community supporter. As a community supporter, you can champion your electoral representative and community representative to bring your voice before the MPs and senators, training, and this code of conduct as well. So, and there's obviously some resources there. So, but look, if you want to get involved at all in that sounds like something you'd like to get involved in. On that, you can fill out your details and have someone reach out to you. You know, you could indicate what you'd like to do, become an electoral representative, community representative, community supporter, or like to volunteer to assist the Aligned Council of Australia. And as I've said, I've talked about the Aligned Council of Australia in detail, and the work that they're doing with all the groups around the country as well. So just take my hat off to them. They've just elected a new board and looking at really moving ahead for the country. So again, there's the website with all the groups that are aligned with the Aligned Council of Australia. So check out their website and also the NERA information as well. As I said, I'm going to try and focus on some South Australian content and electoral sort of content moving forward. And I know that over the last four years, I've been heavily involved in pushing back and sharing a lot of information about COVID, but and of course the mandates and vaccines and so forth, you know, and that's still not going away. I'm still obviously going to try and share what I can, but I'm going to shift a little bit to focusing on things that happen within our state, candidates, electorates, elections, and other things that might be happening more centered to the state, but still be covering some national and international news or content as I go. But So what I thought I'd do is share some people that most of you may already be aware of, but this is Pharma Files by Aussie17 on Substack. If you want to continue to keep updated with COVID vaccines, medical information, I'm going to just list some. I'm probably going to miss some, and people can share with me about some that I missed or some others that people recommend and so forth. So obviously Pharma Files by Aussie17. Another one is ArcMedic blog. So if you're not subscribed, follow the ArcMedic blog as well. Lots of really quality information that comes in through there, and obviously shared plenty of stuff from Rebecca Barnett from Dystopian Down Under throughout the time of COVID, and she's doing amazing work still and getting back into the swing of things as well. And then obviously Jules on the beach, Julian Gillespie, who's I've known Julian for a long time. Obviously he's been fighting so hard now that part of the Australian chapter of Children's Self-Defence, and he's assisted me along the way with things early on in the baby's case and so forth, but been doing a lot with the DNA contamination case and so forth. So if you're not following Julian Gillespie, that's a recommendation as well. And of course, Ian Brighthope, if anybody's heard Ian Brighthope talk at the summit not that long ago, such a passionate person with years and years of experience, who's really speaking quite heavily into a lot of what's going on as well in the world at the moment. And of course, Jeff Payne, PhD, is another one that I'd recommend and suggest following as well. Constantly getting so many updates from Jeff, and I know that there's so much more. So many accounts that people could follow, and your emails could get so blocked up. But these are the ones that I see and are very credible, been pushing content for a long time, very credible, very researched content, and been following them. So, and of course, I spoke to Elizabeth Hart not long ago. She's just recently been interviewed as well on medical doctors for COVID ethics, who've been going for, Charles Covers is another one that's been talking into a lot of different spaces, but and these guys have shared quite a bit of that when Julian Gillespie was on there as well, and others. So for those of you that have heard Elizabeth talk on our chat the other day, talking about informed consent is a huge thing for her and a topic, and it really is one of the battlegrounds that we need to continue to push back on. And then, of course, all of these people are on X as well and other social media, but not to also leave out Jicky Leaks. So there's another one, obviously, been doing amazing stuff and been attacked over the last few years quite heavily. So that's another one to follow as well. So look, these are just my recommendations. As I said, there's a lot of people with a lot more content platforms and so forth that are sharing some really credible, relevant information there. So I just really encourage everybody to just try and follow those accounts. As I said, I'm going to be looking at just focusing a bit more on SA, trying to do some interviews relevant to other things that are going on, agitate some other stuff around health, climate, things that affect our state. That's not sort of fully focused on COVID, which a lot of us have been obviously focused on for a long time, but definitely need to shift gears slightly and allow those that are really expert at talking to those things to talk into that. So look, I recommend following some of those accounts. But for now, these are the candidates. Obviously, a reminder to chase down in Murray Bridge there in Standen Street. And introduce yourself, see what their policies are. Obviously, we're looking to do the same with Zane Bassick and obviously Rebecca Sharkey. I'm in the process of writing a letter to the Mayo candidates and putting some questions to them and to all three of them. and seeing what sort of response I can get from there. So look, that was really all I had for you this evening. Just wanted to give you that quick update, that information about that. Obviously, that Adelaide Hill, the Mitcham Council news as well, and hopefully continue to keep you updated within my scope at the moment. Obviously, and not doing this full time at this stage. Maybe one day, and just trying to obviously agitate, keep you updated, trying to stay abreast of what's going on, and hopefully have some relevant people coming on as well to continue with the interviews and discussions. So look, wishing you all the best. Hope you have a great evening. Thanks for spending the last 20 odd minutes with me, and look forward to seeing you soon. All right, take care and all the best.